cylinder a bit to the left, so it's like this. G, yeah, exactly. And if you press shift, it will snap slowly. Now again, if you go to edit mode, you can now select the top ones. So for panning, it's like alt shift, move a bit, zoom in with the controls. Now you can just select the top layer, press S, and then expand it. We can now select this, down, press S, control or shift, slowly expand this. No, approximately you could just have this. I'll do that. Now that we have approximately the shape, but it's not exact. So how do we do that? That's where I had mentioned yesterday the number of extra tools which we have. So if you go to edit mode, we see a lot of extra tools. I will explain just the tool which we are going to use, so it's quite easier. So there's called loop cut. So loop cut is basically having another segment in between, and we can expand it or shrink just like this. I'll show you how. We'll go to the loop cut, and if you just do nothing, just hover over the model, you can see a yellow line. And once you press the left click, you can now see, I'll show you. You can see the extra polygons which we have now. Or you can just use the shortcut key Control R, and you can see after you left press, you can now move up and down. So you can choose where the loop cut needs to be. So for us, I think it would be nice if we have one here, and we can left click and it's now there. Press S and slowly expand it. Yes, approximately to the top size. So now we are going to do the same. Create a loop cut, and down we can just slowly expand it. That works, yeah. Yes. So now if you come out of edit mode and slowly rotate and see, I mean, you can now move to solid mode if you can, and check whether the model is aligned perfectly. For me, it's just a bit misaligned. Oops. Oxide. Uh, uh, mhm. Create the handle now. So this handle has to be. There are two ways to create those stuffs. Either you have a separate object like this, we can create one and then join it later, or we can have this extrude until here, create separately, or we can use this face and then extrude it like this. So the approach to this is we can have this model so it's easier, or you can have a separate object. Which one do you think would be best? Extrusion should also work here. We'll see both the types, the extrusion and a separate object, and we can join them later. So we'll have to extrude from this side. How do we do that? We again go back to edit mode, As I said, there are three selection options. So we can either select using uh, these polygons like separately like this, or it's much easier, we can just select one face. After selecting one face, there's a shortcut key, or there's an option called insert face. So the shortcut key is I. So insert face is basically it will insert the face or polygons as the size it was before. I'll show you how it works. I'll quickly go to so it's quite easier. So if I press insert face and then do it with the left click mouse, you see there's a small face created. Maybe you could do that. So it's yeah, you can go to polygon mode, the into the vertex mode, select box selected, press double tap G, bring it down like this. You can either do that, or you can uh, use the face selection mode, press S, Z, but the problem is the shape will be, not that great. I'll go to polygon mode again, select using the box selection, press double tap G to slide mode, or you can, there's a uh, edge slide mode here. So you can just reduce that like this, easier. Now we'll go to face select mode. There are three options, shortcuts to it. One is for vertex selection, two is for edge selection, three is for the face selection. So it's quite easier when you start to use the shortcuts. We'll select that face first, go to front view, tilt key front, and now see we can now we have the face selected. Now I'll go to the vertex mode. There's a tool called extrude selection, so that's E shortcut, but we'll use this. And if you pull that, the face starts to come out. Wireframe. Now it's fine, but now we can see this face is like not straight. Now if you extrude it, it will be like it just goes straight. So what we can do is align it straight. Oops, not this. So it's like facing this side, but it should be straight. So it's quite easier for us to extrude it. How do we do that? We select either by going to the polygon tool, select, or you can just use the face. It's best we go to polygon. Each and every side has its own pros and cons, so you'll have to figure out which vertex or slides you have to choose. Select it, press S to scale, and this is x-axis. So you'll have to press X and press 0, numpad 0 or just 0, so it aligns straight. Now it's almost aligned with what we have. Either we could use this extrude, but once we start to get to the tool, it's best we use the shortcuts. And there's another option to use the extrude tool as well. If you press Control left click, sorry, right click, it will extrude by itself where the cursor is. Like that's why this next step. I'll show you how to do it. I'll also do it. So now if I go to solid mode, now we can see the approximate shape of the cup. Now there are two ways to connect it. Either we can just expand this, press G, X, move it like this, and then we can say, hey, it's finished. But as a proper modeling principle, it's best we connect it like that, you know. since it's not aligned properly, what we can do is do what we did here, but here we can go to the selection or polygon selection, whichever works for you. Select whichever the faces are, but it's best we go to the face selection, select the face, press I again, shrink it down, select this, bring it down by pressing double tap G, and then do it like this. But from here we can see this size is different and this size is different. So how do we solve these stuffs? Uh, Either we can have a loop of what we have in the top, or we can just extrude it inside. Since these sizes are a bit different, what I would suggest is just try to uh, select this. Oops, sorry, double tap G, face selection again, press this face and this face, press right click. It's not in there. It should be. mm, exactly. There's an option called bridge. I don't know where it went. I'll search bridge. Bridge. Yeah. Control E. So if you press F3 in your keyboard, there's a select search bar. So if you press bridge and select this one, you can see now it's bridged. Approximately to that size. Approximately done. If you come out of edit mode, you can see how the cup looks. So now we have the approximate size. If you go to front view, tilt key front, wireframe, the outer shape is done. So this one's done. Now it's time for this one. How do we do that? We go back to solid mode, go to edit, face selection tool, select the top face, press I to insert, or you can use the short tool, insert it approximately like this, and have this one. Mhm. Nice. Now the next step is to extrude it. I'll show you how to do it. Back to edit mode, front view, wireframe. Now that being selected, press E for extrusion, or you can just use this extrude region. So I'll use the shortcut key E. It automatically snaps to the Z axis. So since it's flat, it will snap to the axis where the knobs are. So I'll slowly bring this down approximately to here. Mhm. Yes, nice. Now if you press S, scale it approximately to the bottom of what it has. Nice. Exactly. You got it. Nice. There will be problem in this. So if uh, you can see now it's in the exact loop line. So you can, if you scroll to the mouse, the number of loop cuts will increase. So if you scroll through it, yes, yeah, perfect, nice. Yeah, you can do that. Really nice. Yeah, and so I'll show you that now after this. So if you come out of the solid, if you go to solid mode, come out of edit mode. Now you can see the model. Cool, yeah, really nice. Now we'll be using the smoothness of how it's gonna look. How do you do that? I'll show you. So now we have the approximate shape. There are now I'm going to introduce to the modifiers. But before that, we can right click the object in the object mode, press R, right click, shades mode. Now the object is being smoothened. Yeah, cool. But this one is fine, but the edges seem to be just too sharp. I'll show you how. You can down arrow this, press matte cap, change this to this. So this one makes sure that the models are clear, much more to see. Mm-hmm. Got it right. Nice. This one is sharp, so how do we smoothen it? We can either go to edit mode, put a lot of loops, make it more smoother, that's fine. But in order to make our lives easier, developers have created something called modifiers. So if you go to the properties tab, press the modifiers. I don't know why this is there. Oh yeah, because we have done this. It's not usual. Yeah. Yeah, I think it looks like this, right? For you? Okay, so you have chosen the first one. So it just smoothens it. So what we can do is press right click. There's the option called shade smooth by angles. So wherever the camera is, it will shade smooth it. Yes, nice. Yeah, perfect. Now I can add modifier, search for, I think it's been changed, generate. No, maybe escape. Uh, escape. Add modifier, generate. and then go to subdivision surface. Yes. Now it's just moving the model now. On the other hand, it will increase the polygon count of this model. If you go to wireframe, you can see there's a lot of polygons now. So the more polygons are, the model looks great. But on the other hand, it will have more computational power, this takes up the graphics card and all this stuff. So we'll have to make sure that it's an ideal position. It just looks great, and also we don't use a lot of polygons. But for now, since we are learning, this is all fine. We'll just use this. So as you see, there are two options. Catmull Clark. I haven't. I have no idea who it is, but I've been using it for a pretty long time. So there are two options in that. Level viewport, it's set to one. So like whatever we see in this viewport, this is called the viewport. It will divide it or just increases the polygon by one. So if you want to increase it more, let's say by two or three, you can just see how the more you increase, the more smooth model becomes. Yes. Maybe you could go to solid mode. That's easier. You can see. X-ray mode. Maybe you can turn off the X-ray mode. Now we can see the smoothness level. So the more polygon you increase, the level you increase, the more smoothness it becomes. But this one is for the viewport, just for the viewport the purpose. So as you work in, let's say, the motion design, there will be a lot of objects. So you just want to know how this model looks. So you can just make it to the minimum, let's say one, two, or maximum three. In the second option in the render, you can increase it as much as you want. So it's like in the level port, you can say, hey, this looks good, but I want more. They can increase the render options type. So it's like two is there. You can increase it to three, four. In the render, it will increase the polygons. Exactly, it's just preview. Yeah, you got it. Now the model looks smooth, but if you go to the top view, you can see there's a small shrinks to the model. You can see there's a shrinks, right? Yes. So how do we do that? It's very easy. There are two ways to solve it by adding a loop cut or an um, sharpen edge. I'll show you both the ways now. So if you go to edit mode, you can see the original model along with the modifier. So how to make the subdivisions also being seen like this? If you go to the modifiers tab, there's an option called on cage. So if you press that, you can see along what are all the models are being applied. So I'll just use that. Shift Alt Pan 3 for face selection. You can just select it here. Select that face. Either press I, shrink it as much as you want. Solid mode will also work. Yeah, but we'll have to go to edit mode first. That now take that option. All good, all good. You can, it's up to you. You can now move around all the stuff. It's nice. W to select, select that face and increase, yeah, decrease it as much as you don't see that. That's it. And now if you come out of edit mode, now you can see it's much smoother. That's right. Sorry. And if you go to the bottom of the model, it's the same.
Okay.
You can do the same for this.
Okay, so I go back to edit mode
Select the face,
and
come out of edit mode, and now it's much smoother. Really nice, yeah. This is one of the ways, but what we did is increases the polygon. So let's say for game development, this much polygons is for a cup is not even the quest. Let's say a quest will just burst out. So how do we solve that? Uh, I'll just undo. Maybe you can see. I'll show you. Since it's here, I'll just go back to edit mode and select this. So it's quite easier. Press N to have this toolbar items. Change to item, and you can see the transforms local or global as we discussed earlier. Vertex data. So what is his data? What is his data? Increase. Let's say you increase it to 1, and again go back to add modifiers, generate bevel. There's an option called bevel. You press bevel, it will bevel the edges, so it makes it more smoother. In that, if you change it to the weight, which is this one, and increase the amount and the segments, it will increase. I'll show you that later, but it's just a bit advanced. I'll show you how to just sharpen it. It's the same for the vertex grease. The more you increase the more, but not, not this one. It's this face. If you increase the vertex crease, it will sharpen the edges more. But this is not the way. You can increase the mean crease. I think we could do this, but it's not working in this model because there's a lot of polygons which are not just too straight. It's best that we also do the eye and do this. So this one's much easier. But usually we can use this for, let's say, flat scale. Let's take this edge. Went to selection mode, so it's like edge selection. Double tap on the edge selection, and you can just select the whole edges. Now, if I increase the mean crease, you can see now the edges being sharpened. So whenever you want to have a sharpen edge, you can go to edit mode, select whichever the edge loop or the face which you want. Go to mean crease, increase the size. Okay. Since it's not working over here. Yeah, yeah, sure, sure. hmm Um, anything that works, but I think this solid is also working fine, I guess. So polygon is nothing but you can see it in the overlays tab. If you go to statistics, you can see the vertices edges, faces, and triangles. Vertices is nothing but this is a vertex. This one is called a vertex, and I've selected only one vertex out of 432. And if I press the face, this four vertex combined is called a face. A triangle is nothing but I'll show you what a triangle is. You can just see and press J. So this one is a triangle. Three vertices is now a triangle. So you can see just there's no triangle in this. So that's basically what a polygon consists of. So it consists of vertex, faces, and edges. The whole polygon count is based on this. And the inclusion of all this vertex, edges, face, this whole thing is called polygons. The more it is, the more computational power it is. So in your computer, I think these options are not there. So you can either turn it on by pressing a try-click, scene statistics. So you can see there's a, hmm? Exactly. As low as for rendering, for motion design, if you have a powerful PC, if it can accommodate as much as polygons, it's good. It is fine. There's no exact number for it. The system has to, you know, uh, make sure it can compute whatever it is inside the viewport or within the scene. Within that, it's fine. You can do whatever you want, because once we start to render the whole animation, it's going to be the GPUs that's going to take care, or the CPUs that's going to take care. But within working, it should be an ideal position. So it's like for a room or for a scene, it should be. It depends on what how quality depends. So the higher quality, the higher polygons. If you say the medium quality, medium polygons. But the ideal solution would be with medium polygons or low polygons, higher quality should be achieved. So that's why we are trying to use these main crease, edge bevels, and all those stuffs are used, so that we don't need to use extra loopholes. So, for example, let's say I want to have an edge over here, I can use the loop cut and increase the loop, so it's much uh, let's say sharpened now, but with a lot of polygons that I have vertexes. Exactly. Now the ideal solution would be select the whole edge, increase the crease, saying the computer, hey, just fool around with this, and say no, I'm not going to create extra polygons, but make it more sharpened without increasing the polygons. So for example, I will just reduce it and increase another polygon count, and then still I can have it a sharpened one. But we don't want to do that. So the ideal solution would be select the whole edge, increase the crease, and make it more sharp. Yeah. Now this one is fine. It looks okayish. Let me also decrease this. But the handle of mine looks just too weird. What I can do is either expand it as a whole, or what I can do is select the edge by go to edge selection mode, select the edge, increase size like this, maybe. Yeah. And again, for this edge, we can either go to edge selection mode, left click twice, increase the size, and reduce this a bit. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Control maybe. And just this, go down, reduce this a bit. Fine. Now you can see there's a proper four facing stance. So it's like you go to face mode, you can select the four faces. Now it's easier for to extrude and all the stuff. Let's say if we didn't have this proper four facing, we have another, let's say, triangle. I'll just J for join. If I press I, it will be having just a different shape. So you can see it's not proper, right? So in order, and if you also increase, you know, models thing, it will become much more awkward. So it's always best for 3D modeling practices. We have a proper four facing or four vertex. Exactly, exactly. But in some cases, in exceptional cases, let's say a car model or something, if you're modeling, there will be edges where we need certain things like this. No other go. We have to somehow create some edge loops over here, but provided if the model looks great. Go to the top view, go to top view, wireframe, and select the whole thing. Box selected, and now we can select and go back to the solid mode, select, control, control, and control. Can do that. Select the whole thing and press P for shortcut, or you can go to mesh, mm, P selection. So if you press that, the object is now duplicated. So one is cylinder, another one is also cylinder. This is the cylinder, but right now in edit mode, go back to object mode, select that object, go back, move this, let's say here, and now you can see there's a small hole because we extruded from this. That's fine. Back to edit mode, wireframe, no, just let it be solid, X-ray, wireframe, sorry, vertex selection, select that edge, turn off the X-ray, G, Y. You can do something like this. Is it confusing or you could do that? Yeah, if that's so. So you want it to be straight, or is it like high? Hmm. That is one. This one is one solution. It's just a bit complicated. Or what you can do is create a separate model. So for example, I'll just delete it. I'll delete these faces as well. Press X. And by the way, if you want to delete certain things, it's the same. Select the vertex which you want. Press X. That's vertices, edges, faces. Right now we want these vertices to be deleted. So just press X, delete the vertices. And now we have a bigger hole. If you want to fill, press these again for what is this mesh, and then fill. Yes, fill. Thanks. Maybe I'll just search F3 for shortcut. Fill, and we can see face. Now it's filled, but that's for later. Or you can just press the shortcut key F to fill those faces. Deleted vertices. Select those edges and press F to fill. Now your question is, how do I have it a bit straight? I will create a new object, but it should be starting from here. So how do I do it? Go back to edit mode, select that face, use this cursor to be brought here, but there's a shortcut key for that as well. So it's like Shift S, cursor to selection. Now if the cursor is not here, and I can create Shift a cylinder. Now a cylinder is created, and you can see a small pop-up coming up here. You can also use this if you want. You can see the vertices count and all those different sizes. So if you can increase here, decrease the depth, or increase, but we are usually, yeah, but we usually do it in this one. So, but just to just to know, you can do this in this itself. Exactly, we can do that and then join it later. Did you understand? If not, I can explain it. I'll quickly do it, so it's quite easy. Select the vertices, control right click, control right click, right click, auto sheet smooth, add the subdivision, and for this you can select both of it. Now both the selections are done. If you press 2, it will have both these stuffs as 2. Now there's an edge over there. Go to wireframe, select it, increase the window size. Same for this. Oops. And now you can see it's aligned. And how do we join? Select both the objects, Control J to join it, or you can go to Object, Join. Now it's joined. If you move the object, it will move as a whole. So these are two ways which you can do it. Either you can extrude it, or you can have the object created and then just join them later. It just takes time. We're just in the second day, so it's all good. We can slowly do it. Hmm. All good. Yeah, that's really nice. So cool.